So, whether we know or we do not know who I am, nothing happens to the real self. Why nothing happens to the real self? It is the absolute truth. And the absolute truth cannot be falsified. Nothing happens to the real self, whether we know it or we do not. If we do not know, we are living in ignorance. Buddha says the world is suffering. I'm summarizing again so that you will understand why this master uses another metaphor to go deeper. At a very relative level, we should understand whether I know Stephen or I do not know, the Stephen remains the same. What affects? It affects my mind. It's a matter of ignorance and knowledge. So, same way, it's a matter of ignorance and the self knowledge. Just pay attention to that. Second point we should understand, we are most comfortable with what is not real. You go on vacation. What do you mean by vacation? Vacation is to vacate the mind, but we are always full of mind. Second point is we are most comfortable with what is not real, and what is not real is nothing but expectation plus change is equal to pleasure. I have some expectations. I will go on vacation, I will eat this, I will do this, and then it will happen, it will give me a pleasure. Yeah, it's only a pleasure. So, does our master says don't enjoy? No. It only says you become aware of what is real, be with the real, the way we are real, we are always aware that mirror is water. But we forget it's such a beautiful cup, branded clothes, branded clothes, branded cup, and we don't know we are already branded as a real self. Now, I'm not talking about you, Brandy. So, branded. You see that? That is what we forget, and that forgetfulness is the ignorance. So, this master gives us a way to understand. Way to understand. But before that, I remember Kabir, one of the greatest mystic, and the Rumi of India. I always say, he was a weaver. He says, Man Maya ek hai, Maya man hi samay. Mind and the world outside both are one and the same. Man Maya ek hai, Maya man hi samay. Maya, the world outside, the way we see it, the way we see the reality in the world is false. This is created by the mind and this will dissolve into the mind. You apply, take one example and you apply that example with reference to the mind and the world. What that means, clay pot. Can you show me the pot in the clay pot? You see the top, it is clay. You see the bottom, it is clay. You see on the sides, it's a clay. And then we are deluded. Which brand? Now apply the same thing to this guy. a teacher, a beard guy, and long list. Nothing is true. Nothing is true. It is just like a mirage water. It is just like a clay pot. Clay pot in appearance exists, it does not exist. So here we are in a group session, so called. So when you say the group session, with a different name in the form, it appears to exist like a mirage water, but it does not. There is only one real self. There is only one consciousness. So, to make it simpler, this master uses the metaphor that we have discussed in many sessions. I'm repeating it: canvas, original consciousness. Then we have the causal stage, we have a trigger. Then we have a subtle stage, the mind body complex, and ultimately, this mind in the body complex perceives this material world as real. So, the four stages. So, four stages of a metaphor. So, the four stages of the consciousness. You take it from outside the world and the mind. The mind creates the mind. Mind perceives the world, and this world absorbs into the mind. Two stages. Before that, there is a causal stage. But what? They are superimposed. They are superimposed on the canvas, on the pure consciousness. This is the understanding this master is talking about, so that we can have a reflection on the other metaphor that he is using. Why metaphor? To understand. Can I understand without metaphor? Yes, you can understand it. When the mind is totally pure, it can see the subjective reality at once. But mind is the medium where the real self or consciousness is reflected. You see the mirror? I see the door, glass door, and from there the sun, and from the sun rays that falls on the mirror, the reflection I see on the other side. So mind is the medium, consciousness, mind is like a mirror. Consciousness falls on it, the reflection I see outside, that is the world. That is the world. I should request you to go to the previous sessions, at least 5 to 10 sessions, to understand this metaphor. Our journey is to find out who we are in the presence of the mind and the reflected consciousness. Take an example. I'm Stephen, businessman, lives here. From where these information is coming? From the mind, in relationship to the world outside. But who am I? Now I'm Stephen, that is the name. Now I'm male, that is your gender, but who you are? Who we are? So we recognize it is a superimposition. The name and the forms are superimposition. The way the clay pot, the pot with the name and the form is superimposed on the clay. It did not change the essential nature of the clay. The clay remains as a clay. The water remains as the water. You have millions of waves. You tell the waves as a tsunami or a storm or a beautiful waves in the ocean. Keep in mind that metaphor. And now let us move ahead. The first realization that takes place with reference to the clay pot and the clay, that what I am not, what clay is not, clay is not a clay pot. It appears. Second, what is the second realization? The moment I know that I am not a clay pot, I am not the name and the form with the body and the mind, what happens in the second stage of realization? I'm detached. I'm not clinging to it. Who dies? Body. You die? No. I'm detached. And that brings us to the third stage of the realization. What we are consciousness. The clay never dies. Clay pot dies. Sand in the sunlight never die. A relative example. But mirrors water. So now pay attention to it, what happens, and that is what is going to happen in mindfulness. You see the mirage water at a distance. Now you are approaching that location. What happens to mirage water? Do you need to fight? It is already gone. So that is metaphorically, every master says, move the mind within. So you are approaching them near to the real self. The moment we approach to the real self, the false identity with the body and the mind dissolves. What remains is pure, pure consciousness. So you see the how master makes an entry of what exactly is the false. So now he makes it clear what exactly is false. What do you? So two things: understanding what is false, negating what is false. How you negate it? The moment you approach to the mirage water, the moment you understand the optical, due to the optical illusion, there is a blueness in the sky. It's purely an optical illusion. It has nothing to do with the blueness of the sky. You know, the sky appears as a dome shaped. It is not. Are you getting it? Say yes. The moment we approach to the mirage water, it is not there. It is not there. So, the same way the mind approaches to the real self, body and mind complex, that idea, that clinging that I am the body and the mind, simply dissolves. That is why we say mindfulness is effortless and natural. And that is why this master gives us the four stages of a metaphor, the four stages of the consciousness. I don't need to say that I am detached with the mirage water. There is no need to say. It's so natural. It does not exist. It exists in ignorance. It exists in delusion. Are you getting it? That is the message of this metaphor. I don't need to say that I am detached. That is the first point. Second point here, mithya, the false. What appears to exist does not exist. First thing. Second word I use, negating. Negating what is false. You can only negate what is negatable. Am I using the right word? But you will understand it. What can be negated? That only can we negate. What cannot be negated, we cannot negate it. So simple. Mirage water, I can negate it. I am the body, negate it. Why? It can be negated. I am the mind, can be negated. Now you compare it, or you keep in mind the world. Am I the world? No. Am I the body? No. Am I the mind? No. Am I the thought? No. The real self is here and now. No, you didn't tell about it. It is here and now. Where it is? Who is negating? That cannot be negated. Did you get it? That is the canvas. That is the canvas. I cannot negate. Who is negating? Everything that can be negated. And it is always present. It is present in ignorance, it is present in knowledge. To know that is to be in the state of mindfulness, to know that it is an awakening, to know that it is realization. That is, I do not fight. I need not to fight. Normally people say, I will go to the Himalayas or I will sit. Don't disturb me, I am sitting. No, don't disturb me, I am sitting in silence. No, you are disturbing yourself. That is your mind. You have to negate that mind, and you are already in silence. So, again, negating. I gave an example negating. You approach near to the mirage water, it is negated. I need not to fight. I need not to struggle. I need not to make an effort. Inside my head, I see clay pot is all clay. I have negated the clay pot. What effort I need to do it? That is the key this master is saying. Let me invoke another such a beautiful principle. My master used to say, perhaps Ashok may remember, he used to say that here is a donkey, this is donkey. We normally use the word donkey, here is ass. So, who is this? This is donkey. It is very clear the moment I recognize that this is donkey by the mind, I am not the donkey. Clear? Now make it little sweeter. Here is brandy. So the moment I recognize I'm not the brandy. Here is anesthesia. I'm not the anesthesia. Clear? So there are two things. One is the knower and other is the known. Whatever is known to the mind, it belongs to the world outside. I cannot be whatever is known by the mind. Whatever. Who are you? I'm Brandy. No, Brandy is the name. The moment you have recognized it through the mind, you cannot be Brandy. Knower and the known. I started an example with the donkey. Do you see that? Can I become aware of that? I'm aware of that, but I don't recognize it. I'm Sam, I'm Brandy, I'm so and so, I'm rich, I'm poor. Oh, the mind knows everything. No, I'm not. Whatever the mind knows, I negate it. What is left, what is the remainder, is the real self. It is what is that pure consciousness is. So that is why I say That pure consciousness, that if I am the real self, it is always present in all the thought, in the speech, in the action, in our daily. But we don't recognize. So the Master says, continue to explore, contemplate, and reflect what cannot be negated. So, what cannot be negated? I am. That consciousness cannot be negated, and that is what I am. If anything can be negated, it cannot be I. Because if I negate, it means it does not exist. Pot exists because of clay. Mirage water exists because of sun and the sand. The blueness of the sky exists because of the sky. My body, mind, intellect, thought, speech, action, stress, anxiety, duality, conflict all exist because of the consciousness. Because I identify with the anxiety, I enter into stress. Why? I identify with anxiety means what? I am anxiety. That is what we say, I have a headache. No, head has a headache. You don't have a headache. So when we live into that extraordinary awareness, we are already there. So now we pay attention how the master goes with the self-inquiry. In the Saturday session, we don't talk about the purification of the mind. We don't talk about the conventional and other matters. Why? Because this journey, as taught by this master, begins when we are the highest level of a seeker. Self-inquiry, only understanding, moving into that level, that layer of awareness. Let us go a little deeper. I'm just explaining the first metaphor so that we can go a little deeper from the following sessions. So now understand another part of it. The pot exists because of clay. The pot cannot be separated from the clay. Are you clear? I made two statements. Pot exists because of the clay, then the pot cannot be separated from the clay. Come to the body. Body exists because of the consciousness, and this body cannot be separated from the consciousness. But what is the problem? Still, that consciousness is not visible to the sense organs in the mind. When you see the clay pot, we forget the clay. We say, how beautiful the clay pot. The same way we forget the consciousness. The moment we say, what we say, sweet 16, we are referring to the body. Color, shape, size, we are referring to the body. So, masters draw a conclusion and just check your mind. Do you agree with that conclusion? The real self, that consciousness, is not available for the sense organs in the mind and the intellect, and still it reveals itself. What did I say? Difference between the experience and the knowledge. Now, every time we see the mirage water, we know it is not. Who knows? Something inside you are aware of. Same way, Sense organs cannot see the real self, the mind cannot see the real self, but it is available. It is available here and now. While I'm talking, while you are listening, it is available. How are you, David? The moment I say this, I made my presence felt different and separate from you. What is that different from you and the world and the name and the form is already present, and that is the pure consciousness, that is the canvas. The master is saying, drop all the superimposition because you can negate them. You cannot negate the canvas. You can negate everything of the painting. You can negate everything of the color. But you cannot negate the canvas. You cannot negate the consciousness, and that is what I am. So the master goes on saying that if anything exists on account of the consciousness, no, but why are you saying my body is moving? You are talking. Your body is conscious now. Consciousness lends its existence to the body. Sand in the sunlight lends its existence to the mirage water. That is why it appears to exist the same way. When I say, oh, it's a sentient, sentiency in the body. Sentience in the body is because of the consciousness. Like the lamp, like the fan. So that canvas is the pure consciousness. It lends its existence to the body and to the mind, and that's why we feel as if I am the body and the mind. That real self is available. Why it is available all the time? That's why it is all pervading. Let us go a little deeper, step by step. I'm just still explaining the four stages of the metaphor: canvas, original, causal stage, subtle stage, body and mind complex, and that creates the world. Because of the ignorance, I say I'm an individual, different from you. The moment you say I'm an individual, just think, just reflect on it. The moment I say I'm an individual, it is not more than I thought. I thought in the mind. Because that I thought carries the mirage of being the body, being the mind. I am the body and the mind. That is how I say I am an individual. Are you not referring that the clay pot is real? Clay pot is also an individual. I thought. I thought with the body and the mind. That is how we claim that we are an individual. I have also a self respect. What kind of a self respect you have? I'm a self made man. Really? Are you a self made man? Look at it. Once you drop that mirage water, or when you until you drop the body and the mind complex as I am, unless you negate it, we cannot find the real self. Again, I'm making clear. Negating means not fighting, not reacting. Everything, whatever is happening in the world, let it continue to happen deeper inside. I told you, you approach near to the mirage water, it disappears. That is what the Buddha says, nothingness and emptiness. And what we do? Let me force myself to go into silence. Silence is already there. No, I let me sit. Don't disturb me. So as long as you are being disturbed by the others, by the world, you cannot go there. Forget about it. So there the master says, can you declare that I am the consciousness and start reflecting on that? The way we say sand and water, finished. After that, mirage water. We see it's an optic illusion, the blueness of the sky. We see the clay in the clay pot. We continue to use the clay pot. We continue to use the body and the mind. But at the same time, there is an awareness, there is an I that says, I am consciousness. Not less than that, not more, because I cannot negate it. So this, this consciousness is given a different name. It is known as the witness consciousness. One more thing, then we will. Now, as a teacher, I said, you are consciousness. This is indirect knowledge to you. When you say, I am consciousness, it is a direct knowledge. So here we understand that knowledge are of two types. Did you get it? When I say you are real self, it is an indirect knowledge to you. When you declare that I am the consciousness, that is a direct knowledge to you. Did you get it? Say yes. So here the master gives an idea that why I am not able to reach there? Because teacher is saying, I am, you are the real self. It is an indirect knowledge to you. That is why you have to contemplate and reflect on it, to clear the mind, to negate everything, to declare I am the real self. Do you see the difference between the indirect and the direct knowledge? That is why every master says, when we are a highest level of a seeker, listening and learning, contemplation and reflection are must. If you do not contemplate and reflect, means you are listening again and again and again. That very listening is a prayer to the teacher, prayer to the God. Don't go into that rituals. You are remembering that you are the real self. You have done the prayer. But this belongs to the highest level of a seeker. So, indirect knowledge is converted into a direct knowledge by a seeker by contemplation and reflection. If you do not contemplate and reflect, oh, I have heard you. You said that I am the real self, but I have a lot of stress. So, you see the difference between the indirect and the direct knowledge. That is the problem. That is the basic problem. So, the moment you contemplate and reflect, you are aware. That awareness is consciousness. You need not to do anything. No effort is required. You are already in the state of meditation. Already in the state of. So now we have gone deeper. We are directly touching that. Okay, you're talking that I'm the real self and the real self is the pure consciousness. Then what is this consciousness? Are you conscious? Yes. Am I conscious? Yes. Are the other people conscious? Yes. You are saying that consciousness is one, but I see different consciousnesses. Why? I recognize you are also conscious, he is also conscious. You see that? You see? Well, animals are also conscious. The fly, mosquito. So we cannot understand the unitary one consciousness by this metaphor. So the master says we have to use another metaphor of the space and the sky that I used. So I'll just give you an idea before we go into a non-practice. So he uses there are four stages of the consciousness, and he uses the metaphor of the space. We normally say, I have a large space in my room, in my living room. Is it really true? There is a space in the pot. Is it really true? For the sake of convenience, we should use the language. So I'm just giving you another idea before we go. You see, then first take the pot. So there is a space inside the pot and there is a space outside the pot. They are essentially one, but for the sake of in applied life, give me a cup of water. You don't say, give me a water. So the empirical, the material life that we live, it's a matter of convenience. We use the language. So there are four stages of the consciousness. Just think, and then we will. When you have continue to think and contemplate on this, we will go to the another metaphor. I'm just giving an idea. So there is a space inside the pot and the space outside the pot. Now in that pot you fill the water. And in that water, so if you put the clay pot here and put the water, so water is a reflecting medium, and that reflecting medium reflects what is in front of it, the ceiling or the fan. So in that water, still you see the space because there is a reflection. We have four stages of the consciousness. The space outside is the infinite. Then we are clinging to the part space. Now we are not happy with that level of ignorance. The water mind is another medium, it reflects the clouds in that part space if it is put outside. And that is how it brings a lot of confusion and ignorance, as if there are many consciousnesses. But the fact is, there is only one consciousness. So, just give an example, we will go deeper. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. You are aware of eyes are closed, but you are also aware that you are not the eyes. Two things together. So, then again, You do not allow any word or a phrase to pass mechanically, habitually, impulsively. So when I say the body is comfortable, just lying the body, so you are not only aware that I'm asking you to see and experience the body is comfortable. One. Where is your second awareness? Clay pot is clay. So how to see that? I am not the body, you negate it. Oh, you're asking me that there is a comfort in the body, I could experience it. At the same time, I negated the body and the comfort in the body. Negated does not mean I told you. Not fighting, not reacting, not pressing. How I explained to you it as you approach to the mirage water, if you see it does not exist, that I am the body does not exist. You can use another way that whatever my mind knows is not me. Mind knows I am comfortable, referring to the body, I am not. So the moment you are aware you negated the body, the comfort is always there. What do you say? Yes, the comfort is always there. You identify yourself with the body. Keep on identifying. You may be comfortable for a few minutes and again uncomfort will come. Why? I told you. Body is changing. Whatever is changing cannot bring an everlasting comfort or peace. And then we have been going deeper together, looking at the neck joint. Are you aware that you see the neck joint mentally? So, what do you see, feel, experience? You are not. That knowledge, that awareness is working, so called working. It's not working, you are already there or not. So, looking at the neck joint, then experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness, you are not. Why? Because you know it. Then you are aware of the space. Let us go little. So, what do you mean by looking at the space? It is objectless. So, you have approached very near. With the same metaphor I gave you, you have approached very near to the mirage water. And there is no mirage water at all. Now you see objectless state. Are you getting it, my friends? It's all about an understanding. At a far, too far, I see the mirage water. Too near, I don't see it. Why I don't see it? I negated it. Why I don't see it? It does not exist. That is why I have an objectless state. That is why I experience the silence. That is why I experience the emptiness. It is not forced. It is not gained by an effort. It's not gained by any action or the step, my friends. What do you mean? It is always there. Always there? Yes. That is what the mindfulness is. Otherwise, we keep on trying, let me force control my mind, get away with the thoughts, all is illusion. Nothing stands what the masters are teaching us. Let us see again. We are contemplating and reflecting. We are together. There is no teacher and the student. So now you look at the shoulder joints. What knowledge occurs in you? Knowledge is awareness. First, I'm not the shoulder joint. You experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So, whatever I experience, I am experiencing, it is not I, it is the mind. The mind, due to the delusion, has created an I thought, and that I thought says that I am an individual, and that individual says, yes, you are right, I am looking at the shoulder joint. You are not looking, mind is. And whatever the mind is looking, I am not. What do you mean by I am not? Mirage water. Without doing. So sensation, comfort, and steadiness, that is also an experience. I am not. Now then there is a space. Very good, the space. I see the space or emptiness. So that is why I said that space is awareness and awareness is the space. Why? Any object can be seen. Objective world, material world. Who sees it? The mind. Now what is left? No objectivity. No objectivity. That is what the subjectivity is. What is subjectivity? Consciousness. So what I said, space is awareness. Awareness is space. The master says, you have to discover that silence, that emptiness. Buddha says you have to discover, which is already there. You have not to create a sense of emptiness by forcing the mind. The more you force, forcing is also, you know. Whatever you know is not you, you will never be able to reach. Mindfulness is basically a eureka moment. I found it. It is not a practice. Eureka moment. So, what to do? You are already doing nothing. The statement that comes to the mind, what I need to do, you know what you have to do, is different from you. Negate it. I'm not doing anything, you know it. Negate it. That is what we discussed in our today's session. So you live into that awareness and witnessing. Not everyone takes that uh, easily, but I'm using this one more metaphor that you have heard from me many a times. What the traffic has to do that is on your highway, you are simply watching. Watching means witnessing. You are standing across a road. That example I always used to give. So use that example for contemplation and reflection. So all these thoughts and the feelings, sensation and the mazes appear and leave the mind. Whatever is known, whatever the mind becomes aware, is the entire traffic on the highway of the consciousness. I believe you are attending the session regularly, you will get the feel. If not, then take it simple. I am standing across a road watching the traffic on the highway. What is that traffic? Whatever comes to the mind. At this moment, a thought, a feeling, a clinging with the body, or the mind, or the past impressions, anything and everything. They are objects, objects of the world, objective reality. The world, the material world, who manifest at the mind. So I negate both the mind and the world. What is left is the real self or the pure consciousness. So when I said, did you leave it? No, you approach near. You see, the language, it becomes very difficult for the knowledge to express what exactly is mindfulness or meditation or the real self. So we use the very near language. I said, when you approach near to the mirage water disappears. That is negation. Oh, so now I'm using the same in a metaphor in a different way. The moment you become aware of means the objective world. I am plus aware of thought, feeling, sensation, images, etc., etc. I am plus aware of is the mind and the world. These are the last two stages of the metaphor. The world, painting, mind, subtle mind body complex. Below that, causal body, and below that is the canvas, the pure consciousness. The mind creates an individuality What the mind says, no, no, what should I do now? You see, individuality. I discussed about it. No, I don't feel good. Individuality. I thought with the body, mind, past, future, present. When we discover that so called silence and emptiness, we discover means what? It is already present. When you achieve after an effort, it's a false. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down. share our experiences, good, bad, high, low, whatever it is. So, how are you, Stephen and Sam?
Good, thank you. Again, as soon as you started talking, I closed my eyes and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I start going through this contemplation or reflection, and basically come up with this almost immediately is that um, basically anything that could be negated isn't pure consciousness. Hence, if I can't negate it, it is pure consciousness. And it was almost instantaneously, and I felt this pulsation taking place in my heart center, and I noticed it, and I'm like, okay, I feel it. I know it's there. I guess maybe this is an opportunity to negate it because you're not really the pure consciousness. And I just slipped into this space of just pure silence.
That is
And
it.
and although I heard you, I was able to separate all of it and just had these moments that I all of a sudden go like, wow, it was that pure consciousness. And I go through the check of all the education and the knowledge, the listening, the learning, the contemplation, reflection. I was like, okay, I think that's what that was because I can't negate it. And then the body temperature started to change, and I recognized, and I go, that I can negate. And I went back into this place of just pure silence. It was pretty incredible.
Yes, yes. You got it. It's a pure silence. When I say pure silence, it means it cannot be achieved by an effort of the mind using any tool. There may be a silence in my room. I should close the door. I should have a soundproof wall. But that is not the silence we are talking about. That silence is always there. You beautifully made it, and that takes one to an instant meditative state. Instant meditative state. And you rightly said that to negate it, I am aware of not this. Who knows that is it? Beautiful. How are you, Sam?
Good. Very good meditation. It's always helpful to think of, the reminder from this lesson for me is that we're finding what's already there, not finding something that's not there.
Yes, yes, that's another way to put it. Another way to put it. I request you all have couple of the 5 or 6 sessions of that metaphor clear. Think of it, contemplate, listen so that we can use the other metaphor as taught to us by this master. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Great meditation as usual. The word negate was prevalent in my mind at the beginning stage, and for whatever reason, I came up with this analogy of being in a hot air balloon and having all these rocks in it, and I was starting to negate them out of the hot air balloon, and the balloon rose, and then all of a sudden there was no balloon, there was no rocks, it was just space. And I heard you, but I was just nothing.
Yeah, that is it. There is no balloon, there is no rocks, because rocks and balloon are there because I identify myself. So when I say I identify, it is an individuality that I claim. After all, I'm an individual. But that individual is nothing but an I thought. And once we drop that I thought, we are already there. It's a beautiful way to put it. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, the eyes don't see consciousness.
You're right.
But the mind's eye is the witnessing eye, and then it just knows the consciousness.
Yeah.
So So, like you were saying, if you are rooted in that and believe that, know that, then there isn't any negating either. You're just being.
You're just in a state of being. You're just being. Yes, you rightly said. I would put it in a different way. Another master who teaches the 538 topics. He lived hardly 200 years ago. It blows your mind when we read it and when we understand it. So he says that mind cannot know the real self directly. So how to know the real self? Mind can know the real self indirectly. Are you confusing? No. Mind cannot know there is a sand and sunlight when I see the mirage water. The mind sees the mirage water directly. But mind knows there is nothing indirectly. How indirectly? Without the help of the senses and the mind. And that's where we enter into the state of mindfulness. So beautiful, beautiful way. I'm very happy. How are you, Terry?
I am good. I was aware I could hear you, but and in the beginning I was having interesting questions,
Yeah.
but I couldn't hold on to it
Okay, good.
because from lane 2. So it was gone after it came.
That is much
And
better. It came back again?
No, I just let everything go.
Oh, very good.
And I in the space, and the only time I wasn't necessarily aware of my body that much. But at one point there was some sound from the other room that pulled me out. I went right back though, and the only thing that was kind of different.
Yeah.
A couple of times, I just had a vision of like cloth blowing, like a curtain,
Yeah.
and things was open, and it just kind of, and then it went away, and that's all.
That's very good. Once we,
Yeah.
if I use the right word, because these phrases do not convey the sense of the journey. When we are there, the time comes we start seeing as if everything is attracted to that consciousness. Why I said so? I remember lot of teachings of law of attraction is there in our country. So we are moving there. How are you, Brandy? There's a lot of light, brightness.
I'm at my friend's house. This is her nice lamp.
Ah, that's good.
Oh, were you talking about me?
Yes.
Just kidding. I'm good. My meditation was relaxing and kind of like Stephen's. I went through the process of recognizing what wasn't, but then after Girish shared, I was like, well, maybe like I don't need all that. I don't know, but it was good.
That's a wonderful point. When the mind says, I don't need that, what it means, I'm negating it. Just see the different expressions. That is how, when we continue the journey step by step, contemplating and reflecting, we know where we are. You rightly said. Yes, that is what it is. That's wonderful. So I wanted to answer When you have a question, mind knows it. Whatever the mind knows it is not you, Terry. So drop that question also. And then you are there. How are you, Anesthesia?
Thank you. It was very deep meditation. I disappeared in the darkness. When there is dark, everything becomes nothing because objects lose their borders. And I felt as a sugar in a tea.
Yeah.
So, and my throat time to time itching, and it was, I just noticed it, then I negated it and went back to the nothingness.
Beautiful. It is not that I'm teaching you. We both are learning. We all are learning together. You gave such a beautiful metaphor. To see the subtler level of that metaphor demands lot of contemplation and reflection. And what is that metaphor? I felt as if I'm a sugar in the tea. Every drop of the tea contains that sweetness. That is how I'm explaining. And that sweetness is the consciousness. It is pervading everywhere. We are simply negating to realize it, but after that, no negation is there. Do you see that? That sweetness is always present in every drop of the tea. Beautiful. How are you, Ashok?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, it was very peaceful and relaxing as well. The body was quite stable, and I was negating the mind, negating the thoughts, negating the breaths as well. I'm going to the pure consciousness inside.
Yeah.
And then I was saying, I am the consciousness. Like I was declaring. I mean, going to, or you can say, I mean, declaring that I am the pure consciousness, the real self. But I think after this, I have to drop this thought as well.
Yeah.
And then go into the deep and let it happen. What is going to be happen?
I'm so happy you all are picking up. What he said, did you notice? I'm negating this, I'm negating this, I'm negating that. After that, I have to negate the thought that I'm negating this. And once you do that, you are already there. Yes. So everyone expresses. So it's not that we are all working together. How are you?
Thank
you.
Thank you, sir. It's like I'm good, sir. It's like that. Whatever the talking that is happening in the mind, and whatever the visions that is coming in the mind, they all a part of mind and not me.
Yeah.
So it definitely can be negated. And when I see like that, then I am totally calm and I am totally at peace and rest.
Yes. And that's how when I give interpretation to all of your experiences, it gives me, what he is saying that body belongs to me. It does not mean I'm the body. So just by being aware of this fact, I have already negated I am not the body. Are you getting it? But I reminded myself of such a, there was a great seeker who realized, and he was a warrior. He was in a military long back, almost 500 or 600 years ago. I don't remember the name. So he was caught by the opposite army, Tell me the truth. Otherwise, I will remove your head from the body. And he started laughing. I'm just giving it's a real story, but it acts as a metaphor. That warrior said, do it. Remove my head from the entire body. The way you see that you are removing this head from the body, I will also witness it. Why? I'm not the body. Can you think of that higher state of realization? How are you, Kate?
Namaste, everybody. Thank you for your interpretations. Very grateful to be here, feeling the sweetness, and I could identify with everybody's comments.
Very good. Thank you. That is all for today. We will meet again on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.